This afternoon, Regional Council will be bringing up a conversation that in the last couple of days has become, I would say, heated. All centering around the rules that the Medical Officer of Health has put into place around restaurants in the region, specifically the order as Section 22, if you will, where we're talking about simply you go into a restaurant, you're going to sit together. Well, you got to be, living together to be sitting together, essentially. There are some caveats in there, but that's essentially the gist of it. There will be a special meeting to discuss this, though, today. Joining us on the line to talk about it, Laura Yip is a regional councillor. Laura, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm all right. Are you surprised how heated this has become?
Yeah. I received some calls immediately when the order came down. I did not expect it to take the tone that it has.
I guess what's the most surprising part to you in the way it's gone? Because I think honestly what jumps out is some of the personal attacks that have been going towards Dr. Hirji.
And I tweeted about this yesterday. I said, whether you agree with the order or not, the man is doing his job. He's doing what he believes is best for our communities and our families. So again, agree with it or not, the types of personal attacks that we've seen are completely inappropriate, and people should be ashamed of themselves.
Here, I guess, what do you want to see come out of this meeting today? Like, what are you hoping to hear?
I'm hoping to hear more around the data. Again, I have no doubt. And Dr. Hirji, before issuing the order, he sent all of Regional Council and a number of staff an email explaining his rationale for issuing this order, but I don't know if the public has heard it clearly enough. I think there's also quite a lot of confusion just because there are so many different, you've got the province making rules, you've got the region making rules, you've got some of the local area municipalities making rules, there's some overlap, there's some inconsistencies, and so I think people are confused as to which rules are coming from whom, what they need to follow, what they don't need to follow. We've had a couple of elected officials say, it's no big deal, you don't have to pay any attention to this, which is completely false, right? Just adding to the confusion. So I'm hoping to see more with respect to the data. I'm hoping that the people who are delegating, I would love for them to present us with better solutions. Do you have a better idea, right? I don't know if this is the right decision or the right way to go about this, but also let's be frank here. None of us have ever lived through a pandemic before.
Yeah.
So, I don't know that there's a better way to go about this, and I trust that, again, whether people agree with the order or not, Dr. Hirji based it on evidence.
That's the one piece, and I was when you just said that, I wrote it down, that he did send a note out to all the councillors of his rationale of to why to put the order in place. Because there have been a number of councillors who've been outright saying, look, he hasn't explained this to us at all.
No, he absolutely did.
Okay, because I was going to say, like, he sat there and he spent the time talking to me about it, explaining his rationale to me. So I'm like, I have to assume that he's done that to the councillors too.
It's a lengthy email. It includes charts. It includes a couple of graphs. It includes links to other experts in the field. Like, there was a lengthy email the evening before he issued the order. So, I can't speak to whether councillors are reading their emails, but it absolutely exists, and it went to all of Regional Council.
Then, if that's the case, how do you expect this meeting to go? If this has been there for people, are we going to be? I'm sorry, are we going to see a meeting that's off the rails and ignoring the fact that this has been out there, or are we going to see something with some decorum?
I think we're going to see off the rails because a couple of things. First of all, this is not actually a decision of Regional Council, right? This is the Medical Officer of Health using his powers that are given to him by the province under the Health Protection and Promotion Act. So Regional Council, we can pass a whole bunch of motions tonight, and Dr. Hirji can still say, no, I base this on the evidence. This is what I'm doing. The province expects us to make decisions that are based on local data. He could have done what Toronto and Peel did, and he could have shut down everybody. Right? He could have, never mind just these extra orders that he issued, he could have said restaurants, bars, gyms, personal services, salons, you're all closed. Instead, he looked at the data as far as the contact tracing went and said, okay, we've got some issues in the restaurants, not because of the restaurants, right? Not because restaurants aren't following protocols and everything else, but because individuals in the community are still gathering in ways that they've been being told for weeks they shouldn't be. So he's issued a couple of extra orders, and he was quite conservative in what he did in comparison to what he could have done. So he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to do anything as far as what regional council does tonight. These calls to fire him, first of all, are ridiculous. They're outrageous. But regional council doesn't have the power to fire him either. We would need a 2/3 vote to agree to fire him, and then written permission from the Minister of Health. So, right, and then what do? You fired your medical officer's health. Great. Now we're in a pandemic and we don't have anybody in charge. Amazing.
Which would be an absolute gong show.
Right.
Like you can't do that. And somebody's like, oh, what if somebody else? Dr. Feller and the rest of the team they are on the same language as he is. So like most medical professionals are on the exact same language as he is.
Dr. Feller sits on the province's public health measures table.
Yeah.
So again, maybe there's a better solution. Maybe there is something. I don't know. Maybe there's something Dr. Hirji didn't think of. Maybe we'll hear that tonight. But I don't know what this is going to be, anything more than just everybody's yelling at Dr. Hirji.
Sounds like it's just a witch hunt. That's what this may come down to, because even if regional council passes something like you said, they can't twist his arm, because we've talked about it. The province has basically passed the buck and said, hey, regional public health officers, you guys do something in your own region. He did it, and that's what he has to do at this point in time. But it seems like this is just going to be one of those things where people want to stand up and scream at him.
Yeah, and I think, I get the fear and the anger and all of those things that the people who are being directly affected by this are feeling, right? It's their industry. They either own...
livelihood, their dreams.
Yeah, I get that. But then I think what needs to be done is those individuals, instead of rallying against our medical officer of health at the regional level, what they need to be doing is rallying and asking the provincial and the federal government for better solutions with respect to how they're going to survive this.
Yeah. And rallying for the community to do, like you said, the things that we've been asking the community to do in the last number of weeks, which is don't gather with people that we're not supposed to, so we can keep this thing under control. So ultimately your businesses can keep people in there, and we don't even go to the red area, because if we get to red,
and because
it's even worse.
The people that we're hearing the most from, as far as no more shutdowns, no masks, none of these things, we don't want any of these things to happen, are the people who are also not following any of the protocols. Right? And if we could just work together and follow the protocols, maybe we wouldn't be in this situation.
Laura, I think there's going to be lots of for another. We've had a few of these lately. These special meetings that kind of garner a lot of attention. These are kind of becoming commonplace.
Yeah, I expect a lot of people are going to see my home office tonight on camera.
4:30, right? Is it 4:30 start?
4:30 till 6:30, but I suspect it's going to go much longer than 6:30.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. What was the time that was allotted for this? And there's nothing afterwards that it would bump up against, right?
No, there's nothing. So, and we have there's no curfew on this. So yeah, it could go for quite some time. And I anticipate, we've got 32 counselors. I anticipate that, 90% of them are going to feel the need to speak their 10 minutes at some point, right? And we've got 2 delegations plus questions to them, and then the actual issue on the agenda, a presentation from Dr. Hirji, which I'm sure, again, as he has done every single time, will lay out all the data that he's using, and well, I guess we'll see if anything meaningful comes out of the meeting.
How many delegations did you say are planned?
There's only 2 delegations.
Oh, only 2, okay.
Yeah, there's only 2 delegations, but they each get 10 minutes to speak, and then every counselor gets 10 minutes to ask them questions.
Yes.
Right? So if everybody, you can imagine, that starts to add up.
Yep. Use your 10 minutes on each delegation, then use your minutes afterwards to talk about whatever comes up, yeah.
Yeah.
either way, it's become toxic. I think there's one text that just came in put that word down. I think that is a fair thing to say. What's happened over the last couple of days, and that I think is terribly unfortunate. Laura, I hope that cooler heads prevail in this. I hope if we come up with a grand, wonderful answer, I think everybody is on board for that. Everybody would love to see that. It's just we don't need to see the name calling and the threats that are out there that have been there. I appreciate the chat, and we'll be watching from the home office tonight.
Excellent.
All right. Take care, Laura.
You too.